this.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Reading Time with Jarvis. I'm your host, Matthew Jarvis, and in this short segment, I like to highlight some of the hundreds of books that I've managed to read over the last 18 years of my career. And the books we're going to cover in these segments are the ones that really stood out to me of all those books, ones that have really had an impact on my career, and most importantly, books that I recommend that you read either in print, like I like to do it, or on a Kindle is fine, or the audiobook. Any format is fine. Whatever format leads you to take the most action from what you've learned. So today's book is Multiplication by Subtraction, a book authored by Shannon Waller of Strategic Coach. Now, of course, we're all familiar with Strategic Coach, or if you're not, you should look into that. They do absolutely amazing work with entrepreneurs. I have very much enjoyed time that I have spent in the Strategic Coach program, both for the materials they share, which are brilliant, but also the network of driven entrepreneurs they bring to the table. In this book specifically, Shannon Waller, who's one of the top coaches and top directors at Strategic Coach, and Shannon, I apologize, I don't recall your exact title. She talks about multiplication by subtraction, which is a really kind way of saying when you have employees that are not a good fit, you need to let them go. I had the luxury recently of having Shannon as a coach on one of our masterminds, and she walked through this for several of the advisors in our mastermind that said, hey, I've kind of got these employees and they're not really doing a good job, and they're not really delivering massive value. I'm not really sure what to do with that. Shannon was quick to say, here's a couple of things that you can do to help employees improve. But if they are not delivering massive value to your organization, they need to immediately be let go. This led to some really fun extreme accountability inside of our group because a couple of team members needed to be let go. So I strongly recommend this book, as all books that I recommend on this podcast. Otherwise, I wouldn't talk about them. But a couple of action items, a couple of takeaways from this book specifically. Action item number one, if you have an employee who might need to be graduated, who might need to seek employment elsewhere because they're not a good fit, do it. You've got to get these people off of your bus, off of your arc, for two reasons. One is that they're draining down your organization. And yes, we can look and say, well, maybe you made a bad hire, and we'll talk in just a second about you being a better leader. But if you are not looking forward to talking to this person, if they're not doing good work, which we're going to count as work to your standard or above, they need to go. The second reason, of course, is that if they're not a good fit for you, you're not a good fit for them either. Free them from working from your organization. Give them the courage to seek employment elsewhere where their skills are a better fit. So action item number one, employees who might need to be graduated need to be graduated right away. Takeaway number two, only hire people who are better than you. Now, you'll have a difficult time finding someone who's better than you in all areas because that person's not going to want to work for you. They're going to start their own company. However, you can find people that are much better than you in certain areas, the areas you need to delegate. For example, Colleen, who's been my office manager for the last, 9-10 years. She is incredibly good at attention to detail. She's incredibly good at making sure things work consistently. She's incredibly good at keeping us on track for the goals that we've set. Those are all weaknesses of mine. And so Colleen in these areas is hands down a much better person at the job than I am. And this needs to be the thing you're solving for in all positions. The person needs to do a better job than you in that area. This does not necessarily mean faster, right? It just means that when you hand it off, you know that it's going to be done better than if you had done it yourself. Now, you also in this area need to be honest about how good you're doing in certain areas. Takeaway number three, this isn't necessarily from this book itself, but it reminded me of it, which is any and all personnel problems in your company are your fault. This is not just another Jocko reference of extreme ownership, but a reminder that you have created this company, this business, this practice, and everything that goes on there is because you created that way, either intentionally or accidentally. Therefore, you need to take ownership and say, hey, if this thing is not the way that I like it, if I'm tired of getting calls from clients, if I'm tired of dealing with email or the quality of my newsletter or whatever it is, it's your world. You need to change that to be however it is that you want to be. So with that, and in the immortal words of Nacho Libre, go away, read some books.
Hold on before we go. Something that you need to know. This This isn't tax, legal, or investment advice. That isn't our intent. Information designed to change lives. Financial planning can make you thrive. Start today, don't think twice. Be a better husband, father, mother, and wife.